Welcome back, friends. So, while we can all agree that our parents are the examples that we observe, your parents could be your grandparents, your parents could be foster parents, your parents can be the individuals who were responsible for raising you, the people who took the time to invest in you. You know, growing up, observing my father's behavior, my father figure, the way in which a woman knows a male, she knows first from her father how he treats her, how he invests in her. If he invests in her the appropriate way, then she knows what to look for in a relationship with a mate or prospect. Now, if my father mistreats me, then this is what I find in relationships. Early on, when a young lady is observing her father, she's observing how he treats her mother, his interaction with other women. And if it's an unhealthy thing, she picks it up as being right, as her own truth, because this is what she has observed. Or he, whoever the child is, this is their mere observation. I noticed how my father interacted with my mother. I noticed how my mother was receptive and how she was very supportive of him on so many levels. I took that as my truth. However, had I looked closer, I would have saw how my mother was being mistreated. Because I didn't pick that up, I was also mistreated. When you're mistreated and you are in such an imbalanced relationship, you then get to see firsthand what it feels like, what it seems like, what it is. But if it's unhealthy and you don't know it to be unhealthy, this is what you're accepting of. So the boyfriend that you have observes your interaction with your father, and he sees that your father's mistreating you, he's going to mistreat you as well. There were a lot of different signs, a lot of different things, that clues that you might not see. So there was a guy who I spent time with in high school. I didn't know that he knew my family, but I trusted him because I thought he was just a nice person. And he was nice back then. But when I met him years later, he was a totally different person. I was still meeting the same person that I'd met in my senior year, thinking this was the same person. I was wrong. This person met with my family behind closed doors, and they paid him thousands of dollars to date me and to take me out of here. The same person who was not met successfully in doing that decided he was going to act as though he was married to me and get the necessary paperwork, get them forged by another individual, meet with a lawyer, and then, because things did not work out as successfully in that way, he decided he was going to act as though we had a child together, present this child in court as my child, and act as though I was an absentee parent. He went so far as to act as though we were married, act as though we had a child together, and to take over an estate behind my back, as an estate that I didn't even know existed. My parents met with him and told him what the estate was because they all were in collaboration to receive the money. This man then took the necessary paperwork, had a doctor of some sort falsify information. Now, I've never met with any of these people, never met with the lawyer, never met with the doctor, and I left the family because it was an unhealthy balancing, and I had to separate myself from them in order to see all the truths that were going on behind the scenes. So this man, again, took paperwork and acted as though we were married, took paperwork and acted as though we had a child together, and then had a doctor sign a document to go into court and say that he needed to oversee the estate because I was not in my right frame of mind. A person who will go this far for the love of money, and then family members who would support this person. This is a hard swallow that you might have to take on when family members will come together to not only unalive you so that they could have the necessary insurance policies so that when you leave this earth plane, everyone would benefit from the cause. Again, when you grow up with an unhealthy relationship with a father, you have to move away from the situation in order to heal and also to be able to forgive. Separation can sometimes be a freedom that you would never believe could exist. But through God's plan, you'll be able to see all that's going on, be able to identify the unhealthy matters, and be able to persevere. Because if you're not in your right frame of mind, people can actually try to take you out or try to make you lose your mind, try to make you unalive yourself so that they don't have to really do as much. But when God is involved, this is impossible, impossible, because God knows the bigger picture. You can sit up here and think that you know all the people involved. You could say they would never do this or that, but God saw the whole picture. So when God separates you from some people, He's protecting you, and sometimes you have no idea what that looks like, feels like. You have no idea. You have everyone in your life, all these different individuals, your siblings, your parents, all these people you're growing up and learning from. You're learning through the experience. But not only are you learning through the experience, they are teaching you so much and you have no idea. God is doing the protecting behind the scenes while they're doing all this extra movement, by the way. You see, a man can wonder why it is that he is not receiving all the blessings that he believes he deserves. He doesn't deserve those blessings because how is he doing it? How is he going about it? If he has to steal from other people in order to gain what it is that he wants, if he has to unalive people to gain what it is that he believes he should receive, if he has to pay all these different people to go behind the scenes to befriend you, try to hurt you, try to take so much, God finds that there is going to be a lesson for that person beyond what his own understanding will be. A man buys a house in the South Bronx in New York. And when he buys this house, he buys it through scandalous actions. He cannot keep that house. God gives him a chance to clear himself up. He gets a spiritual advisor. The spiritual advisor advises him on how to make better choices. He takes those choices and he flips them upside down, buys a whole new house by putting $1 down in a New Jersey home. But his children are not welcomed in that house. He loses that house again. Before he loses the house, he then has his younger daughter and him come up with a plan on how to unalive the older daughter in that very house, and they lose that house right shortly afterwards. There was a man who was living in this house behind the scenes, and this man was supposed to help in regards to a fire that was supposed to happen to unalive the older daughter. You see, when you practice to deceive, God is not going to place honor on this situation, this action. And when you look at the individuals involved, I had a mate who said he did not want to meet my father. And I didn't understand why. He was looking at the actions behind the scenes. He was looking at what he's been shown already based upon how this man was. He knew that the woman had to heal. I had to heal before even going into such a serious relationship. The healing process has been a rewarding one, as well as one that has been met with challenge as well. However, when you look at the individuals involved, even though you might not understand why God allowed it to happen in the way that he did, even though you might not understand the individual's decisions and choices that they made, you have to then pray over it, and then you see why it is that everything took so long to occur. You see, a man tried to convince a whole community that the woman was unintelligent. And he might feel that the woman should give him something because he is the one who orchestrated so much havoc for the woman to learn and to persevere and to grow. God orchestrated it that way so that both parties would learn and grow, so that both of them could meet more challenge and find a healthier way to come out of it in the end. You see, the male might think that he's gotten away with so much when the officers and everyone has already seen his position. And although he might have thought he was so strategic in meeting up with a prior relationship, coming all the way to Texas to meet with someone, or should I say his mate, meeting with someone to orchestrate a position so that this one person would not be happy. You see, when you look at the dynamics and you look at the individuals, my aunt never wanted me to live a healthy relationship because she didn't have a healthy relationship. My uncle was the healthiest relationship she'd ever had, but she still wasn't happy with that one. When a person is never happy with anything you give them, I recently watched a video online where this woman was not happy with the man giving her a vehicle. And when the window came down, after she showed that she definitely did not appreciate anything this man had to give her, the window wound down to a whole nother woman looking at her, and that woman was now to receive the gift that she did not want. We are all gifts. But if we receive a certain gift and we look at ourselves as being so superior, better than that other individual, we look at the gifts and we don't appreciate the gifts that God is giving us. In the end, we might end up with nothing. And we might have to reap the benefit of wishing that we had made better choices later on. What choices do we have when we have so many people being so deceitful in our presence? But to separate and to move on to a healthier choice. I had one woman in my life, my godmother, beautiful woman, always looking out for the best interests of others and making great choices for her family. I love this woman because this woman has shown me so much throughout my years in high school, being so supportive. She showed me what a mother's love really was, because it was a hard journey to experience so much with the people who I called family. Let's all make healthier choices. That's my word. Indigo Moon.